In this video, I'm going to be covering the 10 comps that I've been having the most success with and the people over on my Discord have also been having the most success with. I will also be linking all of these comps in an Imgur album down in the description as well. And the first one up is going to be Nightbringer Aphelios. Quickly first to go over items, we got Ginsu's Rageblade, Deathblade, and the Cursed Hurricane or Shadow Hurricane. These are the best three by far. Rageblade is super important because the fights tend to last a bit long, and if you have Rageblade you only need 2 rangers. Deathblade is super good because his ult scales really well with AD, and Shadow Hurricane also just synergizes so well with the Deathblade. Other items you can build is, for example, RFC instead of like Rageblade, and you can also build like IE, Last Whisper, RFC, Bloodthirster can work, GA can work as a defensive item, and Hand of Justice can also work. Now for the build, this is going to be your level 8 build most of the time, and a lot of it can be adjusted. I would argue that the only core 5 units are going to be these, and then whatever else you want you can add in. But if you are a newer player, the basic version is just to add in Sejuani and Lee Sin for 6 Nightbringer, then you can add in either Taric or Reroll for either 2 Cavalier or 2 Knights, and then you just go for this version of the build and you're going to do fine. But for the people who are more advanced and more comfortable with adapting your board, you can very easily here like fit in 4 Mystics with like Rise and Lux, for example, or you can just straight up go for like 4 Knights with Nautilus, Taric, and Thresh. I don't think 4 Rangers is ever worth it when you have Rageblade, but when you don't have Rageblade you can, for example, cut these 2 to put in Varus and the Ashe. So the next one up is going to be Karma. There are 2 different variations of this build. You have the 6 Dawnbringer version, and then you have the what I like to call just splash in a bunch of different synergies version. What these builds both have in common is their items. You're always going to want a blue buff. If you don't have a blue buff, you can't really play Karma. Dark blue buff is weaker for sure on Karma, but it still works. After that, you just want AP slash damage items. So i.e. Jewel Gauntlet can work, and like Jewel Gauntlet Death Cap can work, or like double Death Cap. You want to be careful and don't build the Shadow IE or the Shadow Jewel Gauntlet, because then you're going to have to build a Gunblade. And with Gunblade, you're not going to have enough damage, because then you're realistically only running 1 damage item on her. But the 6 Dawnbringer version is pretty basic. You use this to go to level 9, and then once you hit level 9, you want to try to stabilize. You're like slowly taking out Dawnbringer, so you start by taking out, like, for example, Gragas and Nidalee, because those are the 2 weakest, and then you can, for example, put in like maybe Lux and save, for example, a Rise to get in some Mystics. And then, you know, you slowly take out Soraka and Riven, and then you're going to end up with this board. The whole point is that we're using the 6 Dawnbringer because it's a very cheap, the units are pretty cheap to be able to push level 9 and then upgrade our board. And so from here, you can just stabilize with whatever you need, whether you need 3 Mystics or 4 Mystics, or whether you can take out Rise to put in, for example, a Jax to get in that 3 Ironclad if you need a counter armor, and so on. But the big things to look out for is like having Morello on Volibear and these 3 items for Karma, and then just kind of stalling the fight from there. Also, some positioning stuff to look out for. Make sure you have Lux next to Karma so that she's going to shield in this direction, heals the Karma. Same thing with Brel, she's going to shield the farthest away, which is going to be Lux here. But she shields in like an AoE, so Karma's going to get the shield here as well. Another thing you can do is to, for example, do this. Let's say we have like Rise here. So then Lux is going to shield the farthest away, going to shield this this direction. And this is still the farthest away from Rel, so Karma's getting the shielding in both these scenarios. But I kind of like doing this the best, having Lux in the corner. So next up is going to be Blender. This is kind of a level 7 build. You just kind of play whichever 2 frontliners you hit from the early and mid game, so like whether that be like Taric and Nautilus, for example, or Thresh, and then you just kind of play those, and then ideally in the end you're looking to find that Volibear at level 8. And you can either go for just 4 frontliners, or you can take out, like, for example, these 2 to go for the 6 assassins, so you play Katarina and Kha'Zix as well. Main 2 things to look out for here is that you really need IE for Nocturne because it synergizes too well with the Assassin, and then you need a Rageblade or a Shadow Zeeks because they get to give him the attack speed. And then the last item is preferably a QSS, but Bloodthirster can also work. Also, other things that are great is like Frozen Heart on Diana and Blue Buff Viego. Your win condition with this is to hit Nocturne 3-star, so normally you will slow roll at level 7 for the Nocturne 3-star, and then you go level 8 after you hit it. You can also go for like LeBlanc 3-star and maybe even Katarina 3-star in some cases, but she's not that great right now, so usually I only end up going for Nocturne 3-star. Next up we have 6 redeemed. First we'll go over items. Gunblade is the one thing you really need because you get a lot of tanky stats from the redeemed trait. So Vel'Koz gets like 300 armor and magic resist like if he's the last to live, and so Gunblade is really great when you have that many resistances. Works very similar to Vanguard Mystics with an eco carry if you got a Vanguard spat on her. And then the next item is going to be a damage item, so like Jewel Gauntlet or Death Cap, and then the third item is either IE can work because you always crit and you do even more damage. Rage Blade can work because he will attack faster and then ult quicker, or you can do Sojin. Some people will say that Sojin is like a core item on him. I personally don't really think so, but that is kind of personal preference, and that's kind of how these things go at the start of every set. Comps haven't been completely solved yet, so since you're running 6 redeemed, the only 2 units that you can kind of tech in are Nautilus and Zyra. If you have a lot of damage on your Vel'Koz, like say for example if you have like IE, Jewel Gauntlet, Gunblade, you definitely don't need more damage, so you can take out the Zyra to put in like for example like a Taric can work, or a Mystic unit like for example Rise. One thing to keep in mind here with the front line is that Vel'Koz ults the closest to the middle, so we're kind of trying to funnel the units so that we'll get some units here to make Vel'Koz get a much better ultimate angle. This is kind of to prevent those situations where the entire team is over here and then you have like one unit over here that Vel'Koz ends up ulting and he's just wasting a ton of damage. But this can also be pretty risky, so if you see that most people are over on this side, you just kind of want to swap over to this side. Like so. This build is pretty linear, like I said. The only 2 units you can swap out are like Rise and Nautilus. You kind of need all these other units to have the 6 redeemed. So next one up is Draven as the primary carry, and you're kind of running Mordekaiser as the secondary carry here, and Viego. Again here we have Darius for the armor penetration, and then for items for Draven, RFC, the cursed one is really good. Regular RFC is also really good because he's only got 3 range, so sometimes he'll walk up to the front line. So this is to make sure that he stays back here and stays safe. Next item can be either Deathblade or IE. Also stuff like Last Whisper can also work, Hand of Justice can work, the Shadow Hand of Justice can work, Rudon's Hurricane can work really well if you already have Deathblade, and then also a defensive item like GA QSS Trapclaw can also work. Ginsu's Rageblade is also really good, but if you have like more than 4 Legionnaires, I wouldn't really recommend it because you already have so much attack speed. So these are the core 6 units for the Draven comp, and then you can add in 2 more depending on what you need, so that can be just 2 more Legionnaires with both that Riven and that Yasuo, for example, to give you more attack speed. You can also just add in Mystics with, for example, Kindred and Rise if you hit that, and if you need Mystics in your lobby. You can also go for 4 Knights, so you can add in the Nautilus and the Taric like that. The comp is not super flexible, but these 2 slots are very flexible. You can just play whatever you need and whatever you can find. As for synergies, the only 2 things you really need are at least 2 Legionnaires, especially for Mordekaiser. That's mostly for him. It's really nice for Draven as well though, because with 2 Legionnaire you already heal based on the damage you deal and whatnot. 3 Forgotten is really nice for Draven, and it's pretty easy to fit because we're already running Diana, and then Viego fits really well because you get 2 Assassinate and he's already Forgotten, and then you can run Thresh for both Forgotten and Knight. These 6 units make like really nice synergies. So next up is going to be Vayne reroll. You're going for Vayne 3-star and potentially Warwick 3 stars as well. For Vayne, you really want the Shadow Jewel Gauntlet. This is because it gives you extra critical strike chance, so you're going to be critting a lot more often and dealing a lot more damage on a consistent basis. You want regular Hurricane. Make sure you're not making Shadow Hurricane, because Shadow Hurricane does not apply on hit effects, so the Vayne true damage is only going to apply to 1 target, but here it's going to apply to 2 with the regular Runons. Third item wants to be against his Rageblade, or another Hurricane can also work, or another Shadow Jewel Gauntlet. For Warwick, you just want to stack him with the Archangel staffs, whether it be the Shadow version or the normal one. He scales super well with this item. But if you don't 3-star him, you just want generic tank items on it like your Hecarim and whatnot. And then at level 8, this is what you want to end up with. You usually always want to go for 6 Forgottens, and you'll want to keep that 2 Rangers. You can also go for 4 Rangers if you don't have that Ginsu's Rageblade. And you're basically running Vayne as the main carry. Warwick can be a secondary carry if he's 3-starred, and then Viego can also be a secondary carry. So next one up is also a reroll comp. It is Reroll Hellion. Same thing, you're slow rolling at level 5 for Ziggs, Kled, and Poppy. The main one you really need is the Ziggs 3-star. But getting these to 3-star as well is super nice, because then the 2-star units of them are going to pop out. And when you're slow rolling at level 5, you either slow roll with the Lulu and Kennen for 5 Hellion, or you can slow roll with the Leona and the Brand. This can also work, depending, because you do need the Lulu for 5 Hellion, and it can be a bit hard to hit sometimes. You just want to make sure you're holding Kennen and Lulu on your bench. For items for Sigs, blue buff is the best item you can have on him. And then you just want AP, so like Jewel Gauntlet can work, Death Caps can work, Hand of Justice can work, and also like Shadow Hajj is not bad on him, and even Rageblade is not terrible on him either. Now this is the board you kind of want to end up with, assuming you do not hit a Hellion spat. If you do hit a Hellion spat, that is your win condition. You do need either a Shadow Bow or a Shadow Spatula and combine that. And then you go for a Teemo for the 7 Hellion, which is a huge power spike for this team. But if not, then you just end up with this. You can also run Teemo if you hit him, but he's not that great of a unit, I find. You already have enough damage with the Sigs, and these units are also really great. But if you don't, say if you, for example, didn't hit the 3-star Kled, you can take out Kled and run Teemo instead. So next up, we have my personal favorite, which is going to be the Jax carry build. Here we got 6 Skirmishers and 3 Ironclad, and then also all of these items on Jax use a cloak component. So he's actually getting 60 MR from his items, so he's actually going to be pretty tanky. And then the goal of this is just to stall out and then let Jax scale up like crazy with Skirmisher, and also with his ultimate he gets more attack speed. So the longer the fight goes, the better your odds are of winning. So the best item is going to be Shadow Hurricane. Regular Hurricane can work, but Shadow Hurricane is much better. This just makes it scales really well with Skirmisher because you get so much more attack damage, and you're going to be hitting multiple targets, which is kind of the issue with this comp, is that it's front to back. You have very little backline access with this comp. Next up is going to be Bloodthirster. This just lets Jax heal up and get sustain. Scales really well with Skirmisher again because he heals based off of attack damage. And the last item is going to be the Caustic Quicksilver, or the Shadow QSS, which essentially just lets him be immune to crowd control for the entire fight, because one common way you lose with Jax is if you just get CC'd and then just one shot. And with the Caustic QSS, is going to keep healing with BT, and it's going to keep scaling up with Skirmisher. The rest of the build is like insanely linear. You can't really change any of this. You pretty much always want to end up with this, and this will probably be the easiest comp to play once it goes live, because you always just force these 8 units and then you're good to go. But essentially, like your win condition with this is just Viego sniping the enemy carry and then having Morello and Kennen, so he keeps applying Morello to the enemy team, and so like you're looking to get long fights with this comp. Next one up is going to be a Mordekaiser carry. So with this, you want at least 2 Legionnaires because his attack speed is just hella slow, and then you have 4 Dragonslayer. You're looking for to be your Mordekaiser to be your primary carry, and then Diana and Viego are your secondary carries again. Frozen Heart of Diana is insane because of the way her ultimate works. She gets people to go around her, and then they're all getting applied Frozen Heart too. Same thing with Viego. If he steals the enemy carry, you sometimes just simply win because he has 0 damage. And then the rest of the Dragonslayers just give more AP. One way you can adjust this board is by taking out, for example, Trundle and Pantheon. Then you can add in more stuff of what you need, whether that be 2 more Legionnaires, with, for example, a Draven as a backline carry, for example, and then a Yasuo to get some more attack speed in. Another way is to go for 4 Mystics if you're really struggling with AP damage, and similarly you can also go for 2 Ironclad by adding in Nautilus and Rel. As for items, Warmogs is actually pretty good on Mordekaiser because he gets a bigger shield, because his spell gives him shield based on his max HP, so you're getting much more value out of his ultimate when you have more Warmogs on him. Definitely not a core item though, but it's good. And then you want some AP items. If you have, like, for example, Jewel Gauntlet and Rabadon's Death Cap, you definitely don't need it for Dragonslayers, but say if you have items like, for example, like Warmogs, and then you have like Titan's Resolve on him, and maybe you, like, for example, have Hand of Justice. This is not that much damage on him, so then you definitely want 4 Dragonslayer, and so you gotta take these 2 out to put in Pantheon and Trundle again. And then last up, we got Coven Reroll. So for this, we have a Lysandra as our primary carry, and then we have Vladimir as our main tank. And then Morgana is really good if you have Morello and GA again, if you don't go for hit Vladimir 3-star. Like, the priority is Lysandra 3-star, and then Vladimir 3-star is nice if you hit it. So for Lysandra, you really want blue buff because she only has 50 mana, and then you want just more damage on her. So like Jewel Gauntlet again, Jewel Gauntlet, Death Cap, Hajj. Gunblade is okay, but with the Renewal she heals up, so it's not like mandatory or anything. You just want GA Morello. Those are the only 2 items you need, and for Vladimir, it's just tank items. You just like slam whatever tank items you find, whether it be Bramble, Declaw, Titans, Gargoyle, Stoneplate, etc. And once again, you slow route level 5, go for these 2 3-star. This is going to be your level 5 board, and then at level 8, you want to end up with something like this, where you got 4 Renewal, so you're running like Lysandra as the main carry, and then you got Heimer as your secondary carry. We have Lux in here to shield with 2 Mystics, because we got that from Morgana, and then we have 2 Revenant with Volibear and Ivern. This is probably the strongest level 8 version. You can also, for example, like take out Lux if you don't need Mystics, and then you can put in, for example, either Diana with like a Frozen Heart, or you can put in the Viego if you need to steal an enemy carry. Since you do get that 2 Assassin with LeBlanc. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please press that like button and that subscribe button. I'll be posting more Set 5 content in the coming days, so make sure to hit the bell notification to be notified when those go live. If you want to get better at TFT and find out what the best comp is at the very beginning, then you can go ahead and join the Discord. We got over 2,000 other players there who are also hungry to find out what that best comp is and the best strategy to climb in Set 5. So thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next video.